This is my presentation for ECON251, instructor Arlene Supple. And this is my presentation explaining the paper I wrote, the position piece, on the rise of college tuition and fees. Many of America's public colleges and universities are continuing to increase costs of tuition, room and board, and other fees. The cost to attend these universities isn't increasing as rapidly as in the past, yet what is paid continues to rise. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, the difference between tuition and the net cost, less financial aid at public two-year colleges, is not that significant, relatively speaking, roughly a few $1,000s. I got that off of usnews.com, 2015. Even still, a few $1,000s is money in the bank that a student can spend later at that university to subsidize costs, or spend the money on other things, other needs, other products out there to give the economy a little boost that the economy may need from time to time. Many college students and parents of college students are feeling some added pressure economically when it comes to forking over the money to pay for college this year. According to the College Board, the average 2014-2015 tuition increase is 2.9% at public universities. The 10-year historical rate of increase is approximately 5%. These figures are substantially higher than the general inflation rate. They're also higher than the average increase in personal incomes. So I'm a hardworking guy, I am bringing home a certain amount of money, okay? And college tuition is still continuing to rise and rise and rise and rise, yet I'm not making more money. The money I'm making is staying the same. In fact, Uncle Sam is probably taxing me a lot more now. So it makes the gap of 2.9% seem even larger than it actually is. The above does not include other costs that your child will incur as a college student, such as room and board, books, supplies, equipment, and transportation. Although FAFSA, the Federal Financial Aid for Students, usually takes care of the tuition, fees, room and board, books, some supplies if you still have any money left over. Transportation is completely up to you. You can walk to school, bike. If you have a vehicle, then you can drive. Public transportation, if available, you can always use that. These additional expenses can increase your child's cost of attending college by a substantial amount, and also, according to the site, the tuition and fees associated with enrolling and attending a public 4-year university in 2015 is a staggering $39,400, according to savingforcollege.com, 2015. Take the typical situation, for example. A student is planning to attend a four-year university. So the student takes a look at the financial economic aspect of paying to attend classes at the university rather than going to a community college with a transfer agreement. You see, when a student attends a community college or junior college, costs are usually lower than attending a university. When it comes down to the economic impact to further the student's education, one has to make a choice and consider, how long is this money going to last? Now, what is this money going to cover as far as tuition and fees, etc.? Okay, the student also then is bombarded with the information that, hey, I can take out a subsidized or an unsubsidized student loan depending on my undergraduate status, graduate status. So that's another thing that a student will have to consider. Parents of students also will have to consider, paying out of pocket, getting loans, also providing the student with transportation if they can afford to. The truth is that many students would have to take out a subsidized student loan, which is definitely something one doesn't want to do at this point in one's academic career. An extremely small loan, sure, but nonetheless to cover additional costs such as housing and meals, transportation, etc., etc. Of course, the university suffers economically because it lost a few students to community colleges around the nation. Okay? So they're losing out on some of that money that could be coming to them, to their university, because the student made, possibly a wiser choice by attending a smaller college and getting the prerequisites out of the way at a lesser cost, which is actually kind of very smart if you think about it. The big schools, the universities, don't feel it much at first, but when they realize that businesses aren't hiring just anyone with a BA or a BUS degree, they have no choice but to raise the price of college tuition for students to attend their schools. And yes, some universities may offer incentives such as price cuts on meal packages, free admission to sporting events and festivals, or maybe even offer full ride academic or sports scholarships. The bottom line here is that everyone takes a hit economically when a decision like this is made. Thus, by choosing a smaller college where the financial aid is more than sufficient to cover all the costs with some money left over, the student can then stimulate the economy by purchasing other things. On the plus side as well, a student will get an opportunity to save more money for when the student decides to transfer to the university and complete a four-year degree. Here's a graphical look at the rise of college tuition over the years, alongside some other important statistics such as medical health care, the cost of a new car, food, and energy. And I've labeled this chart, and as you'll be able to see on the chart, college tuition has almost risen 1,200% since 1978, when the Consumer Price Index started recording this data. So this graph is going to go from 1975 to 2015, and you'll see that the highest incline or the steepest impact is definitely college tuition costs. So take a look at this chart. And I've sent you a copy through the Moodle portal, so you should be able to have a copy of your own. But this is just what I wanted to show you here in the presentation. Okay, so any conclusions? What did economists at the Federal Reserve Bank make of these statistics? Well, one thing, they noted that federal funding such as Pell Grants is often blamed for driving up college costs. When low income and middle income students receive federal grants to attend college, the argument goes as such. The institutions, they simply raise their prices to reflect the student aid provided by the government. The economists, however, suggest that there is a strong suggestive evidence that decreases in state and local funding of public universities is linked to tuition increases, particularly since the recession. They find this troubling and suggest that college students will have to shoulder even more of the cost of going to college. They'll have to shoulder that burden in the future. And this is according to CBSNews.com 2015. So basically, in closing, it appears and it's obvious that the college costs are on the rise steadily and show no signs of stopping soon. This is a trend that, according to calculations from savingforcollege.com, is only going to continue. In fact, by the year 2033, it will cost the average public university student a staggering, an unbelievable $94,800 just to attend college and get a degree. That probably won't even mean much at that time. A bachelor's degree will be like graduating from middle school or high school, however you want to put it, however you like to look at it. That's according to savingforcollege.com. So look that up if you have any more information or questions on that, if you need any more information. Future students and parents alike should take advantage of many grants that are available, take advantage of as many scholarships that are available, and free federal funding as possible. Take as much free federal funding as possible. Also, they should look into Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, possibly setting up and pulling out some 401k retirement plans and 529 plans, just to name a few, in order to start saving and growing money that can be used for subsidizing college and university fees and stimulating the economy. References page, you do have the references page, but I'll show it here for you. This is the grand finale of my ECON251 presentation, college tuition and fees on the rise. Thank you.